Have you ever encountered a depressed mother? How about women who still loving their partner despite being battered? Today, we're gonna answer those questions and how they handle it so well. Hi everyone, I am Angeline Buhay from BSC 1-10 and I'm gonna discuss the topic of battered woman syndrome, postpartum stress syndrome, and postpartum psychosis. First, let's discuss what's the meaning of battered woman syndrome. Battered woman syndrome or battered person syndrome is a psychological condition that can develop when a person experiences abuse, usually at the hands of an intimate partner. Described as a subtype of PTSD, also known as post-traumatic stress disorder. So, psychotherapist Lenore Walker developed the concept of battered woman syndrome in the late 1970s. She wanted to describe the unique pattern of behavior and emotion that can develop when a person experiences abuse and as they try to find ways to survive the situation. People living with battered woman syndrome may feel helpless. This can cause them to wrongly believe they deserve the abuse and that they can't get away from it. In many cases, this is why people don't report their abuse to police or loved ones. There are 3 stages of battered woman syndrome. First is tension building. When we talk about tension building, it is where tension accumulates over time, resulting in low-level conflict. The person carrying out the abuse may feel neglected or angry. This feeling may lead them to believe that their aggression towards the other person is justified. In this phase, the abuser is argumentative, angry, uses yelling, criticism, swearing, and angry gestures. Sometimes, the abuser will use coercion, threats, or minor fights may occur. While acute battering incident, over time, the tension grows into a conflict, culminating in abuse which may be physical, emotional, psychological, or sexual. This episode may last longer and become more severe. In this episode, where the tension peaks, the physical violence begins. It is usually triggered by the presence of an external event or by the abuser's emotional state, but not by the victim's behavior. This means the start of the battering episode is unpredictable and beyond the victim's control. Lastly is loving contrition. After carrying out the abuse, the person may feel remorse. They may attempt to win back their partner's trust and affection. The person who experiences the abuse may idealize their partner during this period, seeing only their good side and making excuses for what they did. In this stage, loving, kind, and contrite behavior. He fears she will leave, so he does everything and promises everything to prevent it. His reason may persuade her that he really can change. This phase is the coming true of all the good things and that romantic love is supposed to provide. So let's tackle the symptoms of battered woman syndrome. A woman who's being battered may feel isolated, anxious, depressed, or helpless. Also love the person who is abusing them and believe that they will change. They also deny that anything is wrong or excuse the other person. Be emotionally withdrawn and also have the intense feelings of fear. If you are concerned about a family member or friend, watch for several important symptoms that could signal that they are in an abusive relationship and need help. This includes withdrawing and making excuse not to see family or friends or do activities they once did. Seeming anxious around their partner or afraid of their partner. Having frequent bruises or injuries they lie about or can't explain. Having limited access to money, credit cards, or transportation. Showing an extreme difference in personality, getting frequent calls from significant others, especially calls that requires them to check in or make them seem anxious. Having a partner who has temper, becomes jealous easily, or are very possessive. Wearing clothing that could be hiding bruises, like long-sleeve shirts in the summer. The next topic must be postpartum stress syndrome. Postpartum stress syndrome is a typical of adjustment disorder where an external stressful event triggers feelings of unrelenting stress that are much more intense than expected. with postpartum stress syndrome, you have a profound need to be a perfect mother but feel like you are failing at the job. In postpartum stress syndrome, women are functioning fairly well and do their best to get through the day with no one else noticing how awful they feel. It has been defined as an emotional state which fall between the relatively mild baby blues and the relatively severe postpartum depression. Postpartum stress may be mistaken for baby blues at first, but the signs and symptoms are more intense and last longer, and may eventually interfere with your ability to care for your baby and handle other daily tasks. Symptoms usually develop within the first few weeks after giving birth. Postpartum stress syndrome is a step below postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety in terms of severity. While postpartum stress syndrome can create feelings of anxiety that are unsettling, these feelings do not impede her ability to function or get through the day. Claimant says, instead, a woman's stress is manageable but constant. Things to do when you feel the postpartum stress is try to do more for yourself. Try to get more rest if you've been struggling with sleep. Exercise more often. Surround with people who make you feel good. Eat a well-balanced diet. And don't be afraid to ask help. The last topic is postpartum psychosis. Postpartum psychosis is when a person loses touch with reality. They may start to see, hear, and or believe that things that aren't true. This effect can be very dangerous for a new mother and her baby. Women experiencing psychosis is experiencing break from reality. In her psychotic state, the delusion and beliefs make sense to her. They feel very real to a mother and are often religious. Some women who get postpartum psychosis have been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and other mental illness before. But most have no previous psychiatric symptoms. The episode usually starts with the inability to sleep and feel restless or especially irritable. These symptoms give way to more severe ones. Here's the symptoms of postpartum psychosis. First is delusions, hallucinations, depressions, anxiety or confusion, or paranoia and suspicious feelings. Constant mood swing, feeling disconnected from your baby. The chances for postpartum psychosis are higher if you or a close family member has bipolar disorder, or if you have previous episode of psychosis. The risks go up if this is your first baby, your pregnancy was unplanned, you have a big mood swings while pregnant, you stop your psychiatric medication during pregnancy. We should know that this is not a joke for every mother out there, so let's always choose to understand everything. Postpartum depression is particularly painful in that it comes with guilt and fear of being a bad mother to a new baby. Every mom experiencing PPD feels worried that she is not giving her best to her child and feels trapped in a prison of sadness and fear. Let her know that this is temporary and not her personality, destiny, or curse. Tell her she will overcome this and be stronger on the other side. It's only a matter of time before she feels like herself again. Tell her often, this too shall pass. Thank you, everyone.